All right, everyone, we've reached the end of 2018. I've seen a lot of movies this year, and some of the movies were so amazing, and you can see my list of favorite films I've seen this year in 2018 in a separate video, but in this video, we're going to break down the movies that did not make that list. In fact, they made a completely different list, and these are my least favorite films of 2018. I am very happy to say that when breaking down all the movies I've seen this year, you might be asking yourself after hearing my list that I'm about to tell you why some of these films did not make the list. There were quite a number of shitty films that opened this year, but I honestly did not go out of my way to see a lot of them because none of them really interested me whatsoever. I could almost kind of tell that some of them were going to be a disaster before even going to the theater, so I did not waste any of my hard-earned money to see them, which is why the likes of a few of these that I'm listing right next to me aren't even on this list because I didn't even see them. So let's get into my least favorite films. I'm going to give you 7 of my least favorite films I've seen this year. Some of them are genuinely bad, and but some of them are a little bit more just disappointing given my expectations for them, and that's where I kind of sit with my 7th and 6th films towards the bottom, is that they weren't necessarily bad films, but they were disappointing, and that's why they made the list. And in my number 7 spot is quite a surprise and a bit discouraging for me to say, but that was Ralph Breaks the Internet. I had a lot of hopes for this movie, given how much I loved the first one. I thought that the marketing was on point, especially with the inclusion of all of the Disney princesses, and I'm sorry to say the Disney princesses were one of the only good things about the movie. Otherwise, this movie was many leagues below the first one. It lost so much heart from what we had in the first one. It made some narrative choices that did not flow well. It's made character choices that really irritated me, and it ended things in such a way that almost kind of depressed me with where we end up with these characters that are established so strongly in the first one. The really only redeeming thing I can say about this movie is that the Disney princesses were amazing. But that is such a small portion of this movie. I was very disappointed with what we got from it. And in my number 6 spot is Vice, and that is another disappointment. I know that this is gonna probably get some controversy since some people are including that in the awards category for Best Picture potentially coming up. I disagree. I will say Vice succeeds in all of the performances, all of the cast, from Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, Sam Rockwell, everybody did amazing. The performances were impeccable, and for that reason alone, that is why I can see why these performances are going to be nominated. But that was the only redeeming part about the movie. Overall, it was boring, and it was tonally completely all over the place. The movie sort of, in trailers, made it look like it was going to be a lot more quick-witted, sort of strong, in ways that I could have sort of seen in, a West Wing episode written by Aaron Sorkin. You're not going to get anything like that in this movie. It was just dull, it lingered for way too long, and it made choices where it couldn't decide if it was going to be comedic or sad. And it was just completely choppy and all over the place, and I was bored. So I'm sorry to say that I was very disappointed overall with the finished product in this movie. And in my number 5 spot, we have Adrift. And honestly, the biggest reason why it's here on this list is because it's so completely forgettable. I almost completely forgot about this movie when I looked through all the movies I've seen this year, and that's how little impression it made on me. Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin did perfectly fine in their performances, and I bought into some of their romantic moments, but otherwise they seemed a little bit forced or a little bit cheesy. Shailene Woodley was definitely the highlight, and the story was intriguing in terms of, it being a survival movie, and it is based on a true story. But otherwise, there was nothing in the movie that really struck a chord too deep or stood out to me in any particularly interesting way, and that's why I completely forgot about it. And in my number 4 spot, we have Game Night. I had high hopes for this movie. I thought the previews were hilarious and the premise looked really good. It got really good reviews from critics across the board, so I was expecting a much better time than I got. It was one of those disappointing realizations that all of the funniest moments were in the trailer, so we had already seen them, and there were a couple funnier moments interjected, but the rest of the them kind of fell flat to me. The movie was just disappointing compared to how strong it could have been, which comedies can be purely subjective. I know people that loved it. I just didn't. It fell flat way more than it won me over, and the parts where it won me over, I'd already seen in the trailer. So if you're looking for a really good time watching this movie, just go on YouTube and watch the 3-minute trailer. And in my number 3 spot, we have the Happy Time Murders. And this movie, oh god, it missed the mark in every single possible way. This movie should not nearly have been as bad as it was, and also just kind of boring, honestly. They showed a lot of the funny moments in the trailer, yet again, but honestly, I was surprised at how badly this movie was paced in terms of jokes to narrative, and the narrative moments felt honestly really boring, and it dragged the story completely down. The best moments for me were the comedic moments shared between Melissa McCarthy and Maya Rudolph. So their 2 or 3 scenes they had together were really funny, but overall this movie tried to be something amazing, or tried to, push the lines or push the boundary, which I was so ready for, but it did so in such a sloppy, uninspired way. It was boring way more than it should have been. The jokes didn't land nearly as well as they should have. That's where I got pissed off, is where you have such, I feel like, an easy concept to be able to execute with smart enough writing and a good director to direct his actors and the humor, but they really missed the mark in almost every single way. In my number 2 spot, we have Book Club. Now, I will say that one of the biggest things I think working against me in this is that, I am not in the particular demographic they're wanting to appeal for this movie. I will grant them that, but this is the very first time in my entire life where I was sitting there leaning over in my recliner, and I honestly thought about taking a quick cat nap. That's never happened to me in my life. The movie had a strong first quarter with some pretty funny moments with these amazing actresses, but the rest of it was so cheesy, so dull, it felt no better than an Oxygen or Hallmark original movie that is made to appeal to a demographic that I most certainly do not fit into, and this movie I just thought was dumb and a waste of these amazing actresses, but I don't think the movie was made for me, and that was apparent as I was watching it. And finally, my least favorite movie I saw this year. I actually cheated. I didn't see this in theaters, but I caught it on Netflix, so it does count as a movie that had a theatrical release. And that was A Wrinkle in Time. And oh my fucking god, I'm glad I did not pay to see this movie. And it's really a shame, the cast behind it, and how much the creative team was really pushing the spectacle and wonder of this movie, and Oprah had the audacity to even throw this movie's name in the same sentence in comparison to The Wizard of Oz, which it most certainly is not. The only good thing about this movie is some visuals and some of the cast in the movie. Not saying they're actually good in the movie, but it has some strong actors that can act in Hollywood. But this movie was shitty. It was cheesy. It fell apart in the last act. I really did not like the lead character whatsoever. It did not pull me in. It was uninspired. It was just dumb, and I think it is made to appeal to a much younger child audience, maybe. It also might be a little bit confusing to them. I was bored, I was cringing, and I feel like there was an intention there, and there probably could have been a much better film made than what was shown. I am so glad I did not waste my money seeing this in theaters. I wouldn't even tell you to waste your time watching it at home because it's not worth it. Turn on something else because A Wrinkle in Time is not worth your time. And those are my 7 least favorite films of 2018. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I'm curious to hear what movies you thought were completely shitty. 2018 was definitely an interesting year for film. Luckily, it had more good than bad. I just gave you the bad. You can go check out my favorites in another video if you'd like. And thank you all again for watching. I'm looking forward to what 2019 has in store for film. And until next time, I'm Ryan Boehme, signing off. Bye, everyone.